Mike's Daily Podcast.
FF episode 2074. Oh, I just realized something.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
You're not supposed to have lights on behind you when you're doing a show that's going to be on video. But this podcast, don't you know, is audio. So I think I fixed the situation a little bit. We'll see. You'll see it on YouTube, on my channel, youtube.com/MikesDailyPodcast, or go to
MikesDailyPodcast.com,
and you will find me over there. Happy Saturday. So I'm not so happy.
Daily
My lovely lady friend
Podcast
has gone on her quarterly pilgrimage to Mount Shasta. She is drawn to Mount Shasta every couple of, during the quarter, every couple of months. And she comes up there and goes hiking, and usually she goes to this mineral spring, which I went with her one time. I think I told you about that one podcast, where you jump in these very... It's mineral water coming out of the ground, and you soak in it, and then after a bit of time, as you're sitting in there, you go, oh, I'm going to go over here into this hot room where you sweat like Keith Sweat. Going to make you sweat. Oh, that was CNC Music Factory. And then you jump into this ice cold creek. And it's all up there in beautiful Mount Shasta area. Actually, that's in the town, near a town called Weed, for those of you who enjoy that substance. So, what I've learned is Mount Shasta is beautiful, but unfortunately, in order to get the Basil the Boxer up there, it does require a lot of work. And he kind of has this...
And here's today's podcast picture.
I don't think he's into traveling the way he used to. But the last the trip that we traveled up to Mount Shasta, we took him along, and it was in February, and he could still walk a little bit, though it was getting really hard for him. And I don't know how much he really enjoyed the trip, but in order for me to go with my lovely lady friend up to Mount Shasta, I have to take him along. And so Basil and I are staying behind, and she is going up there now. So I wish her a safe trip and an interesting trip, and I'm going to post pictures. It's okay. I'm sure it's okay. I mean, I haven't asked her, but I'm sure it's okay. I'm gonna put the pictures there on MikesDailyPodcast.com so you can see some of the fantastic, beautiful views of the wonderful area. Oh, in fact, she's texting me right now. Oh, okay. She sent me like a little lovey-dovey thing. So, yes, there's much to... It's a beautiful area, and we live in a blessed area of America in California with the beautiful mountains and the beautiful oceans. And nowadays, gas is not as expensive as it was like when we traveled back in February, so... She's gonna enjoy it. Okay, anyway, I've been traveling as well. I was on BART for the first time this week. I have some notes here. Apparently, when I was riding on BART yesterday, I noticed something. I love the face masks. Everybody's wearing one. Actually, there are a couple of people that were not wearing face masks, and I was a bit shocked. They're like, I don't care. I'm going to just... I can't do this with headphones. I'm trying to put my headphones... Oh, see, this is the headphones edition of putting on your face mask. Okay, that looks nice. But people on BART saying, I don't care. I want to just go ahead and subject my body to all kinds of airborne molecules, water molecule, vapor molecules that are going to go in my mouth and in my eyes and in my ears. And so there was that. Oh, I rubbed my nose just now. That's a baddie too. Okay, well, everything's sterilized in here. at Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valentino, the last place on earth. Thank you for listening to Mike's Daily Podcast. And I just recorded a little clip that's going to be on youtube.com/Mike's Daily Podcast. Oh, and I just knocked the phone into some kind of oblivion. So much for that. At any rate, I don't get that. Why people don't wear face masks on the BART or on YouTube. Well, I guess I'm not wearing one right now, but everything's been sterilized. Okay. The one thing I like about wearing face masks, though, on the BART is I don't have to smell the pot. That's one thing you still smell on BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, is the marijuana being smoked. I do not like that smell. You might love it. It's not my fave. So I like to wear the mask cuts that down. And you're supposed to wear masks in the bathroom because of all the airborne molecules that can become airborne for various reasons in the bathroom. And you're supposed to wear a mask in there. I like it because then I don't have to smell the smells in the bathroom. So it's a win-win for some of the things that you have to wear a face mask for. So one of the things, though, about the coronavirus, somebody said this on the radio the other day. I thought it was pretty apropos. They heard someone say, or they saw someone on the news, some government official say, we only had 600 deaths today. And this guy who saw this said, what a schmuck. How can you say just 600 deaths? We only had. What if one of those deaths was someone you love dearly? That sentence should never be uttered. I understand today in this world where when numbers go down, it is good news, but it's a bittersweet news at the same time because people are still dying. It's weird times. We should never be applauding any deaths. And I've heard Trump even have to kind of backtrack when he was saying we only had this many deaths today, but there were still deaths, and we understand that. And it's just a terrible sentence to have to begin to even say. Meanwhile, the EU, our friends to the, well, depending on where you are in America, I guess to the east, over there in Europe, they are banning the U.S. and other countries that are not getting a handle on the coronavirus. They're starting to ban. And I have, let's see, this bit of a story to flesh that out, the EU. Germany can afford more debt to fund EU recovery. Oh, that's interesting. UK ready to quit the EU on Australia terms. But, I also heard they are going to narrow down the border list. U.S. likely to make the cut. Oh, okay, now they're saying European envoys are close to finalizing a list of countries where citizens will be allowed back into Europe once the coronavirus. They're close to finalizing to be allowed back in once it begins lifting coronavirus-linked restrictions. In this June 13th photo in Barcelona, Spain, with the warm weather, it looks like summer last year, where everybody's on the beach in bikinis, and nothing ever happened. Nothing's going on. Americans are almost certain to be excluded. Oh, wait, excluded in the short term due to the number of U.S. coronavirus cases. There we go. The number of cases in the United States has surged over the past week with an all-time high of 45,300 confirmed in new daily infections just reached. Trump also suspended the entry of all people from Europe's ID check-free travel zone in a decree in March. And that is according to ABC News. In other interesting news of our times, The Simpsons, they're recasting, and Family Guy are recasting the characters that are let's see, recast white actors who voiced characters of color. Interesting. So that includes, which one is this one? I forget these characters. This is how long it's been since I've watched The Simpsons or Family Guy. But anyway, you get the idea. Mike Henry, he was the character... Oh, he was the guy who voiced Cleveland. He says, it's been an honor to play Cleveland on Family Guy for 20 years. I love this character, but persons of color should play characters of color. Therefore, I will be stepping down from the role, he said recently. And The Simpsons will no longer have actors voice non-white characters. Apu, that's who that is. Okay. And Cleveland. All right. There you go. And finally, California is pushing for zero emissions on heavy trucks starting in 2024. Wow, that is not very long from now. And zero emissions for big trucks. How is that going to even be possible? Welcome to America. We'll see if that happens. ZEV, zero emission vehicles. My name is Mike Matthews, and I have been hosting the Mike's Daily Podcast show now for we started the show in 2011, although I've been podcasting since 2009. We're at episode 2074. It's interesting times, folks. Interesting times, but you know what? I am a Gen Xer. And I understand, as I am not a baby boomer, but I've been around people in my life that were older and set in their ways, and were very upset with the way things changed suddenly. And things are changing a lot these days. And people go, I don't like change. The way it's been is the best way. Yeah, say that to say that to the people that have had to deal with the quote unquote best ways for all these years. Talk to someone who's had to put up with some of the stuff that they've had to put up with all these years. The discrimination, the inequality. You know, it's about time. And millennials, they've said enough. They've been able to organize using social media. Gen Zers are into it. It's about time, folks. When you say that, when I ask you, why can't we change something? And you go, oh, because it's always been this way. It was that way for my daddy and my daddy's daddy and my daddy's 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 daddy. Then you know what? Maybe it's time you rethink this. You rethink the situation, because there are lots of things we don't hold on to anymore that at one time were huge. Maybe it's time that the statues come down. I'm not saying take them down in museums, if they're sculptures, if they're art, but if it's a monument, I understand we need a couple of them. Statue of Liberty, I would never take down. The Lincoln Memorial, I would never take down. But in the end, we erect these statues thinking that these people that we make statues for equal the importance of things like the Statue of Liberty. And what do we base that on? I guess, what do I base it on? I don't know. But that's a question to ask in our own minds, in our own brain holes. Hey, look who's outside a cafe anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro, Valentino, the last place on earth. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
If I was riding Bart, which I would never ride Bart, ever, I would not wear my face mask ever, because that's just not me. And I don't do a dang thing Gavin Newsom tells me to do. Tell you what.
What? No, seriously, what? I don't know what you just said.
That's okay.
Look who else is here.
Oh, Mike, I make the delicious root beer Harrison right now, so Cleveland's gonna be done, huh?
Yeah.
Like the Cleveland Show, like the whole bear thing that I get compared to sometimes from the Cleveland Show. Oh, boy.
Yes. Although you existed way before the bear on the Cleveland Show, so there's that. But yes, the guy that plays Cleveland is not going to be playing him anymore.
Okay, I don't care. Oh, boy.
Excellent. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show. Call in and let me know what you think about the topics we covered or any topics you'd like us to cover. 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast will continue to be. Oh, and you can listen to me tomorrow morning on kkdv.com. I'll be on from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. 9 to 5, actually, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on kkdv.com. Check it out. I'll be on this Saturday, tomorrow, and the following Sunday. And then I'm gone. Then I won't be on it for quite a while. Just how it is. So enjoy it while it lasts. Yes. And go to MikesDailyPodcast.com. If you need any of that repeated, or if you want to find all the cool places I am on social media.
It's a nightmare of a show.
Oh, and the podcast picture today. So as my lovely lady friend heads up to the wilderness of the Mount Shasta area, back 9 years ago, I went to the Twain Harte area, Tuolumne County, and there was this cool place I stayed at, like a cabin. And here's a picture of that cool little place. I think that was rent to VRB. Is that rent by owner? That's it. Before the Airbnb took off. So there's this cool place that I stayed at, and you can see the podcast picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Take it away, Ariel. A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!